Thank you Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Power seems to be the topic of conversation this week. Oh, hello guys, my name is Brago. Welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoyed the video today. But anyway, power seems to be the topic of conversation this week. Of course, based off chapter 1026, people are starting to speculate about different characters' strength. Yamato, Luffy, Kaido's, even Paris Barrow, which is fair. But today we're going to talk about an underrated power. Something that you know, but you probably don't notice. You overlook it a lot, but once it's right in your face, you're like, oh, of course, that makes so much sense because it is honestly a game changer. And the story has been telling us that. But from there, I guess something I have to tell you that would be a game changer for me is just subscribing to the channel. Click the red button, turn on post notifications, drop a like as well. Like, I'd really appreciate it. Like, don't be weird. Like, why are you being weird to me? But anyway, back to this power. Power scaling is fun. It's all about the what ifs and putting characters against each other in order to imagine how they perform. This is part of why even cross-series death battles exist. People like them because they're fun, even though they don't make sense. With power scaling in One Piece, we often get caught up in mainly two things, right? Devil fruits and haki. They are without a doubt the most important tools a person can utilize in battle in One Piece, but they aren't the end all be all, not even close actually. Squarespace is an amazing online platform in which you can create your own beautiful website. Here you can create a community with fully integrated interactions through comments and likes, where you can connect with your audience through gated members only content, along with email communications and leveraging audience insights. There are awesome tools to help you manage inventory, reconciling, and even bookkeeping. It can even automatically push website content to your favorite social media channels so your followers can share it too. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and whenever you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/B.D.A. law to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Something that is often overlooked in these discussions is technology and how much of an asset it can be in battle. So, to be clear, when I talk about technology, I'm not talking about specifically weaponry, but rather applied science, generally speaking. Even things like the Rumble Ball is technology because it's a drug. The Rumble Ball that Chopper uses is a drug that specifically alters the wavelengths emitted by each form. And this was done after 5 years of research. So, just like Chopper's Rumble Ball, Caesar's Smiley poison gas is also technology. And Caesar, of course, to do that, he provided Smiley his weapons from 4 years ago, which altered the effect of the poison gas and then turned Smiley into the perfect weapon for mass slaughter. So that's pretty devastating. We can try to dismiss these things as a subset or a product of a person's devil fruit, but it's more accurate to classify it as its own little thing because the devil fruits themselves act as a catalyst to the technology and not as a progenitor similar to Ace using his own flames to power his boat, even though regular flames could be used as well. The great thing about technology in One Piece is that there is an unbelievable variety to technology and how it's used. Of course, it's easy to immediately think of Vegapunk's works, but there's also other technology that isn't as quote-unquote technical as that, but it's still pretty damn powerful. One example is the dials from Skypiea. The dials from Skypiea are one such example and have been shown to be a pretty useful tool in combat, to the point of even giving Wiper enough power to nearly kill Enel with the reject dial. It was also able to destroy a part of the beanstalk, and then the most glowing example is to make someone as physically weak as Usopp able to withstand one of Luffy's most powerful attacks at the time in the series, his Gomu Gomu Bazooka. Technology has proven itself to be an exceptional asset when in the right hands. But if we took a step back in the story, our very first significant introduction to the power of technology was all the way back in Baratie with Don Krieg. Krieg wasn't an especially powerful physical monster, nor did he have any haki or devil fruit. He relied solely on his weapons and chemical warfare to defeat his opponents and was able to cause great devastation because of it. Who could forget the lethal poison gas bomb, MH5? I guess you could say the problem with Don Krieg's approach was that he relied too much on his equipment and too little on himself and possibly his crew. But later we get a snippet on how technology can be used in tandem with one's other abilities to supplement them and become stronger with Chopper and his Rumble Ball creation. I think it's really interesting that Sanji said with all those weapons and armor, it's almost impossible to beat him, especially now knowing Sanji's lineage. It's kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. But back to Chopper though, the full potential of the Rumble Ball was later showcased in Enies Lobby with Monster Point Chopper, which would otherwise otherwise be unachievable without it. Recently though, with Caesar's formula for the Rumble Ball, he was able to extend the effect by 10 times the original amount, further increasing Chopper's stamina and his fighting potential. Throughout One Piece though, it seems like this is where technology shines best, right? As in by augmenting your already existing abilities, similar to what we see with Sanji and his raid suit, where we can safely say that using his raid suit with his martial arts, he can easily surpass his siblings who are simply bioengineered human weapons that rely fully on technology with nothing else combat-wise in their arsenal. One could argue Sanji without the raid suit was already stronger than them, but with the raid suit, he's on a completely different level. That is not to say, however, right, that Germa's technology alone isn't that great. It's just that it would reach greater heights if it was secondary to something else. We already saw that they were relatively incapable of doing anything without their raid suits. It is unquestionable though, the potential within Germa and their bloodline elements, modification, cloning, it's a powerful tool to the point that even an emperor, Big Mom, desperately wanted it. And it's not just Germa, even in other factions, it seems that the higher you go, the more prevalent technology becomes. In the world government, they have the pacifistas. And in Kaido's crew, they are mass-produced Smile along with Queen's biochemical weapons. The pacifistas that we know of, they don't pose nearly as much of a threat as the real Kuma, because now Kuma, who was operated on, the real Kuma, was able to get impressive physical defense on top of his already astounding offensive devil fruit capabilities. So Kuma is another prime example of the power technology can bring to the table when utilized correctly by augmenting existing abilities. The other example, which we haven't seen yet, is the SSG's power, the Special Science Group, which was able to produce something that could even replace the warlords themselves. So the world government, they found something where they replaced Kuma, Mihawk, Boa Hancock, Weevil, Buggy, some of the strongest characters in the series, and they said, no, we're fine. Whatever the SSG are, more than likely is what we've been talking about today. A soldier who already had pre-existing abilities, fighting styles, other utilizations, they're augmenting that with technology, because again, going through it, technology seems to really shine when it's added on top of something you already have, like the raid suit, like Smiley, like the Rumble Ball, like Kuma. The most threatening thing about technology though is that while it needs great minds like Caesar, Judge, and Vegapunk, it is continuously building upon itself and improving in a linear fashion over generations, whereas with Haki, it requires significant individual training with presumably a cap on his capabilities. So Haki's personal, so once that person dies, his power disappears. You can't leave Haki behind. I know, there's gonna be somebody in the comment section trolling about Odin and his sword. Stop it. Enma is for Zoro, okay? But technology, on the other hand, it is reproducible, meaning at this rate, eventually science will surpass the highest tiers of fighters, similar to how even in our world, when guns and nukes were introduced, armor and swordsmanship became obsolete. And even in One Piece, we're not that far from that point because we've already seen it happen. This was the case with Jack and the poison gas on Zoe, which quickly ended a battle with top tier fighters who wouldn't have fallen otherwise. Again, Jack took down an entire country mostly by himself, even though he had somewhat of an undead army with the Smile users, but he was the only significant fighter there, and he took down an island of warriors. This is yet another instance of why Caesar and his science was so valuable to the point of being sought after by not one, but two emperors, Kaido and Big Mom. So this is kind of a big deal. Like, this is truly the underrated power in the story. Quite recently though, there was the mention of MADS, which is an old group of scientists that for some reason it was dissolved. Since Queen knows Judge and Caesar worked with Vegapunk, it would not be surprising if all four of these great minds worked together in the past, but I think just a simple mention of it at this stage in the story means that it will be expanded upon in the future. Technology in One Piece and in the real world is never-ending progress, and there are also instances where we are seeing a new technology develop in real time with Wappo metal. This is a newly discovered alloy produced by Wappo's devil fruit that is impressively sturdy. So in a way, there are devil fruits that can aid the advancement of technology. The Frankie Shogun, we see it all the time, and it's said to be made of Wappo metal, and we see just how resistant that can be. Wappo's rise to power and favor with the world government, it's no coincidence, right? This can only mean that we will see the metal combined and used with Vegapunk's creations to create even more formidable weapons. As it stands, right, half of the Straw Hats use or have incorporated technology in their fighting styles. Sanji with his raid suit, Chopper with his Rumble Ball, Usopp with his dials, Nami with her Climatact, and last but not least, of course, Frankie. As we get further and further into the story, I suspect that there will even come a point where science becomes one of the biggest threats in the world, greater than even the Yonko themselves, all culminating into the ultimate weapon of mass destruction, Pluton. Pluton was the warship capable of destroying entire islands with a single shot, which is something that Whitebeard, who's hailed as the strongest man in the world, would struggle to compete with. This is the potential of technology. Even in other series, humanity and technology is highlighted, and it's shown that it can surpass even the strongest superpowers. I'm not going to spoil things, but for Hunter x Hunter, Attack on Titan, those are things that are definitely explored. And One Piece has done that, but I think we have so much further to go with how devastating technology has been and will be. The existing Pluton, of course, will either eventually be revived or a new Pluton will be built by someone, maybe Frankie or Vegapunk, and this will elevate the scope of warfare to a new level in the One Piece world that could potentially even dwarf the SSG, but only time will tell with that. But guys, give me your thoughts. Do you agree that this is the most underrated power in One Piece? I think it's no question. Technology and how it's used and the advancement of such, it's inevitable. And I'm not sure if we get a sequel for One Piece, but I think even in, let's say, The Legend of Korra, these things are explored, showing just how much technology, even in Boruto, how technology impacted how people fight, how people compete, how people protect themselves, right? But I think it's really important. But guys, give me your thoughts. How do you feel about it all? Give me your thoughts on technology. Where do you think it's going? What do you think about Pluton? Yeah, give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys all so much. Guys, again, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite